So this was at UCLA a couple days ago. Watch this. Look at how I've seen this guy before, Castro. Like he was in a bunch of videos from the first encampment.
Racist police! No racist police!
So they're just staring at each other. Then they're like, "Yeah, go time. Yeah, go time."
Racist police! I just wanted to.
Then they just reach in and grab this fucking girl for no reason. Like she's not throwing things. She's not trying to fight anybody. She's just there, engaging in protest chanting, and they just reach in and snatch her for no reason. Like California, Georgia, and Florida are literally the vanguards of fascism in the United States.
I just wanted to.
So they snatch her, they drag her behind the line of cops, and in the line of cops, they set up a sort of wall to prevent people from trying to de-arrest her. This is why it's important for communists and progressive people in general to study military tactics. You need to be thinking about, like, how can you break that wall? How can you free your comrade? And most importantly, how can you get away without being arrested or otherwise brutalized? Shameful, shameful display on the part of the UCLA police. But it's a day ending in Y. My poll. What is the primary contradiction in the United States? 42.6 said settler colonialism, 47% said capital and labor, and 10.4% said a third thing. To be fair, I kind of worded this poll shittily, and that's on me. But on the other hand, it's a fucking Twitter poll, and you shouldn't take it as like a statement of line. But I voted for settler colonialism because, like, this country is built on stolen land with stolen labor. And that is the contradiction that sort of overrides all others. Even the capital labor contradiction is determined in major part by the fact that this country was built on stolen land with people like myself, well, like my ancestors, who were stolen from their homelands in Africa. You cannot build socialism on stolen land. There can be no socialist Israel, just like there can be no socialist United States. Socialism does not simply do away with the contradiction of stolen land and displaced indigenous people. That's why you should follow the advice in his comrade's handle. Read Dr. Gerald Horne. A lot of people are talking about this. Like, if we can go one day or even 1 hour without AOC, like, why is this woman the face of the left in the United States? This is why I'm glad that I'm not a leftist. I am a revolutionary communist, so AOC was never mine in the first place. But as a member of DSA, I guess she is in a way mine, even though AOC doesn't really give all that much of a fuck about DSA, just judging by the stupid things that she says. But AOC said in this post that was made yesterday that the callousness, dehumanization, and targeting of Jews on display at last night's protest outside the Nova Festival exhibit was atrocious anti-Semitism. Plain and simple. So the Nova Festival was basically that rave that was being held on October 7th when the glorious Palestinian resistance liberated themselves. They broke out of jail, and many of these people like saw their land for the first time. The land that was stolen from their great-grandparents. The land that nurtured countless generations of their family. And AOC seems to think that this stupid fucking rave is more important than that. As a Puerto Rican, as a Boricua, she should understand, like, the yearning of a colonized people for their land. She should understand this, like, in her very sinew, in her bones. But when you integrate into capital and you allow yourself to become a stooge for the ruling class, as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has allowed herself to become, this is what happens. You lose all touch with your people. You use your identity, you use your very makeup as a Boricua woman as a tool in the hands of the fucking racist Joe Biden. Speaking of Joe Biden, there was an atrocious Juneteenth event. You had Billy Porter kneeling and kissing this old white racist's hand. I'd say my people are cooked, but I'm not a doomer. And I also realize that Billy Porter is not representative of the masses of struggling African-American, new African, what have you people. So, but it's still an atrocious, disgusting display. Anti-Semitism has no place in our city, nor any broader movement that centers human dignity and liberation. Okay, for one, she's doing this thing. She's doing this soft Zionist thing where people conflate anti-Semitism with anti-Zionism. As a DSA member, as a branch member of DSA New York City, why is AOC not being subject to political education? Like, why is she not being mandated? Well, this is DSA. Of course, we can't mandate anybody to do anything. But, like, why is she being paraded as the face of our organization, yet she is ignorant of the most basic principles of Palestinian solidarity? Why is she allowed to speak? Or why is she being proffered as the main head of DSA? Well, it's fairly simple, people. Like, they're going to take the person with the most bourgeois friendly politics. They're going to give them all the media appearances. They're going to give them all the news time. They're going to interview them. They're going to basically proffer the people with the most ruling class friendly politics. This always happens. Just like with Black Lives Matter. You didn't have people like Darren Seals. You didn't have people that were out here saying, fuck the system, burn it all down, because that's not the message that they want spreading to young black people. They want messages like AOC's. They want messages like DeRay McKesson's being spread. They want people thinking that liberation can come through voting for Democrats. That is what they think. That is what they want. So, of course, they're going to proffer AOC as the face of socialism in the United States. But in reality, she just wants to be Nancy Pelosi Jr. A lot of people are talking about this as well. This is a Dabka line that is being led by an Afro-Palestinian child. Very cute Afro-Palestinian child. And you have a lot of black people that are standing up dancing Dabka in a refugee camp comprised almost entirely of tents. And people are like, oh, these people, this is in Africa. Okay, Palestine geologically is Africa. Like, it's on the same plate as a lot of Africans. And also, like, you can literally walk to Africa from Palestine and vice versa. So a lot of these people's ancestors, they were on their way to Hajj, and they decided that for whatever reason, Palestine was the place for them. That's where these people came from. People are acting like, oh, they're all descended from slaves. No, a lot of these people went to Palestine and stayed in Palestine voluntarily. AOC read Chomsky and stopped there. Like, if you look at a lot of Middle Eastern culture, it's derived heavily from Africa. Also, I love how U.S. imperialism is so widespread that you have people in displacement camps wearing Nikes. Westerners certainly are not the brightest, especially when it comes to other cultures. Hopefully that brightened your day. So you have Nadine Kiswani of Within Our Lifetime Palestine saying that, like, this is how a lot of people in the Palestinian Solidarity Movement are talking about DSA as a whole, because we allow AOC to continue to represent us. Nadine Kiswani says that you are worse than any openly fascist politician. At least we know they are our enemies. Liberals like you will smile on our faces as you lied to and backstab our communities. The only person targeted and dehumanized was a young Palestinian Muslim woman. Stop revising the facts. So this is that lunatic Drew Pavlo, who is actually getting paid by an Australian multimillionaire for his trash. I don't think ALC is receiving a single dime of APAC money because they hate her. And this is the thing. Like, you can pander to these people all you want. You can carry their line all you want, but they're still going to hate you. Okay? It doesn't matter how much you kiss their ass. These people demand total submission. So you can't have it both ways. You cannot have it both ways. Because, okay, you denounce October 7th, okay? You denounce October 7th, and then you turn around and you say, hey, maybe Gaza should not be being starved to death. Maybe Gaza should have water. Maybe Gaza should have food. Like, have you engaged with Zionists? You say that Gaza deserves food and water. These people don't give a shit about that. These are not humane. These are not sane people. These people want to ethnically cleanse Gaza so that they could turn it into a fucking amusement park. And here you don't get it. You don't get it. You cannot pander to these people because they're going to demand more and more and more and more of you. You're going to lose your fucking base, and then the Zionists are going to turn around and not vote for you anyways. So let's see, like, what the big fucking deal is. Let's see what AOC is so pressed about.
Zionists decided to rave.
Where Zionists decided to rave
Next to a concentration camp. That's exactly what this music festival was.
That's exactly what this music festival was.
It's like having a rave.
It's like having a rave.
Right next to the gas chambers.
Right next to the gas chambers.
During the Holocaust.
So again, how is this so controversial? Like, she's literally stating the facts. Having a rave next to the Gaza concentration camp is very much akin to having a rave next to the gas chambers at the Nazi extermination camps. Like, that is a very, very accurate parallel to draw. Anti-Zionist Jews make this parallel all the time. So again, what exactly at this demonstration warranted a denunciation from a U.S. Congresswoman? Nothing. She's being eaten up in the comments. Like, this is what these people were protesting. Let's see. These are like messages that were left at the, I guess they had like a wall or something. Let's see. Our unity will let us heal. The Gazans are all Amalek. They should be wiped off the face of the earth. Treat them as they treat us. That is the only language they understand. We will never again, may God avenge their blood. I am struck by the hope and beauty of the will to survive. I am filled with shame and embarrassment that Muslim people are our cousins. I cannot comprehend an Allah who is proud of his children and Muhammad's descendants. May the love of life of the nation of Israel overcome the evil of the nation Nakhba something of Islam. Okay, so this is what was being protested. This deserves to be protested. But why the fuck is AOC condemning this protest and not condemning these horrible fucking statements that are put out? These genocidal statements that are being put out. It is not anti-Semitism to protest this. Did APEC write this post for you? This is why you get yelled at while at the movies. A bunch of LaRushites ran her and her husband out of a movie theater. Again, she's just proving everybody right. Like, she's a sellout. She is a soft Zionist. And she is not a fit representative of DSA. Here's an anti-Zionist Jewish comrade, an exhibit that openly endorses calls for Palestinian genocide, and you side with the exhibitors. May you go back to bartending and get lowballed on tips for the rest of your life. Very funny, swamp communist. I can almost forgive the fact that you're in fucking Frizzo. But yeah, it's fucking silly. This is Katie Halper. Please don't conflate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. This conflation is, in fact, anti-Semitic and trivializes actual anti-Semitism. Like, there's actual real-life fucking Nazis out here. There's actual real-life fucking Nazis out here, and this is what you're worried about. This is what you're worried about. And we voted to re-endorse this fucking lady. Why? Like, it makes us look like an ass. Sabidun Network, another very well-known Palestinian Solidarity Network. Let us be very clear. The entire purpose of the Nova Festival exhibit in New York City is to promote false atrocity tales and a Zionist disinformation narrative about the Palestinian resistance on October 7, 2023, and to use that disinformation to launder the U.S. Zionist genocide in Gaza. This exhibit is meant to promote lies about October 7th, specifically those which have been long debunked, from the false mass rape narrative. As a black man, this hits me especially hard in my heart, because that was literally the reason why so many people who look like me ended up being lynched. All a white woman had to do was call rape, was say that, no, he touched me, he took advantage of me, and okay, black dude ended up fucking swinging from a tree. So you have to be very careful about the types of myths that you promote. Hell, I even saw DSA people carrying this fucking water. There has been no evidence whatsoever of Hamas or the Palestinian resistance engaging in any act of sexual violence against a woman, against anybody on October 7th. You know what there is documented evidence of? There is heavily documented evidence of Israelis literally raping Palestinians that they have kidnapped with red hot iron bars, sodomizing them. And of course, you also have them brutalizing and sexually assaulting Palestinian women. All of this is documented by impartial third parties on paper. This shit is on paper. But nobody gives a fuck. Why? Because these are brown people. But white people say that this happened to them with no evidence, and we're all supposed to run with it and use it as justification for trying to wipe out an entire ethnicity of people. Fuck that. We have also seen the power of the unified regional resistance with Hezbollah emptying northern Palestine of its settlers and occupation soldiers, Yemen shutting down the supply lines of genocide stretching to Iraq, Syria, Iran, and beyond to the global resistance front. The fact is that October 7th changed the world. It has stripped any and all remaining illusions about the nature of Zionism and imperialism. It has made clear that Palestine will be free of Zionism and the region will be free of imperialism. Their genocide, their mass murder, their torture, their slaughter of children, adults, and elders, their horrific assaults on Palestinians, their theft of land and life will not succeed, will not win, and will never ensure the Zionist presence in Palestine. They wish to wipe away this reality with pools of blood, piles of rubble, the destruction of homes and hospitals and mosques and churches and schools, and with the massacre of discourse to accompany the massacre of humanity, with disinformation campaigns and smears like those that AOC is participating in. They see that people, in fact, reject their lies and smears as reality, and so they wish to criminalize, repress, and silence those who make that rejection heard. It is clear that the Palestinian and regional resistance forces are those on the front lines defending humanity. And the Palestinian resistance were also on the front lines defending humanity on October 7th, breaking the siege, defeating the Gaza Brigade, confiscating the intelligence files at Erez, and taking action to liberate the prisoners and the land. An unending path of resistance for 100 plus years and the birth of a new Palestinian revolution, building upon all that has come before until the liberation of Palestine from the river to the sea, the defeat of Zionism and imperialism, the defeat of the liberation of the Arab nation in the region. So yes, long live October 7th, the material and symbolic representations of the road to the liberation of Palestine. All the smear campaigns against the heroic armed resistance will be exposed. And long live the Intifada and the revolution until victory, return, and liberation. Very good statement. Honestly, we should have let one of these people to take AOC's spot. Why don't we primary AOC? Then we also have Jamal Bowman's Uncle Tom Ass, who DSA NYC also voted to re-endorse. He says, I condemn those celebrating the innocents killed on October 7th. This dark day was the largest attack on the Jewish community since the Holocaust. Celebrating it is anti-Semitic and unacceptable. Peace cannot be achieved by weaponizing our tragedies against each other. DSA NYC is cooked. Like, how do you keep endorsing these people? This guy got us in trouble. This guy is the reason why Palestinian solidarity organizations are literally boycotting DSA right now. Jamal Baraka, an actual black revolutionary, an actual black socialist who is not, Jamal Bowman is not fit to shine in Jamal Baraka's fucking shoes. Comrade Baraka says, this kind of unprincipled opportunism is what got you in trouble. What credible forces celebrated the intensification of war on October 7th? You are not going to win over any white liberals with this BS, and you just play into the image of you being a scared Negro. Straighten your back. That's my message to all of these black politicians that feel the need to condemn this stuff, that feel the need to carry water for Zionists. Straighten your fucking back. You are a black man, bro. You're not AOC. You're a black man. They're going to hate you regardless of what you do. Why the fuck do you actually think that this, AIPAC is already dumping money to fuck you over. AIPAC is already dumping money to fuck you over. They want your seat. You can say all this shit you want. They're still going to laugh at you. They're still going to denounce you. They're still going to try to run you out of Congress. And here you are kissing their asses. You're fucking lame, bro. Like, what are you getting out of this? It's not even pragmatic because pragmatists at least get shit when they fucking sell out. You're not getting anything but scorn. You're embarrassing DSA. Why did they re-endorse you? If y'all really cared about what happened at Nova, why is no one talking about the Israeli occupation forces gunning down their own people and burning down cars with the missile strikes? Or the fact that they killed many hostages in Gaza? The exhibit is pure propaganda. And then, like, this is a typical Zionist, because it didn't happen. Shocker, I know. Keep in mind that there's actual evidence that most of the people killed on October 7th were killed by their own fucking army. But again, these are delusional people. They're either bots or they're delusional people. Jesus Christ, she's a double settler. She has South Africa and she has Israel in her bio. All of the burned bodies were killed by Israel. Like those were fucking helicopters. Okay? The resistance does not have helicopters. If any organization in New York City claiming to support Palestinian liberation was worth its salt, they would be confronting the propaganda at the Nova exhibit at 35 Wall Street in Manhattan. It's there until June 22nd. Honestly, destroy that shit. Why allow the same lies used to commit genocide to run rampant? 40 beheaded babies. Lie, but Biden repeated it. The White House had to backtrack it. 1,400 death toll in October. Now it's down to 350. Most killed by the IOF. Seriously, what's the point of boycotting media and going to the White House while allowing these PR machines to operate unconfronted? Keep in mind that, like, all of these mainstream news organizations either have major offices, have major desks, or they're headquartered in New York City. New York City is basically the media capital of the world. You got the New York Times there. You got the New York Post there. You've got all these fucking lying-ass news organizations. They literally use this festival to justify another massacre in Nusayrat with the support of the American military. Yet you have AOC condemning the fucking resistance. Can AOC please quit embarrassing DSA in front of the Palestinian National Liberation Movement? Like, can she? It's all she knows how to do. Like, at a certain point, you're gonna have to ask yourself, if you're a DSA member, is your reform, your phantom reforms, because you're never gonna get this shit. Like, that's another thing. Like, why are we backing and standing these people so hard? Do we really think that like 4 or 5 DSA progressive Congress people is actually going to get us what we want? Of course not, because I want the destruction of America. But say you're a realistic, pragmatic person. Say all you want is Medicare for all, free college, forgiveness of your student loans. Do you really think that 5 fucking people in a Congress full of reactionaries is going to bring you that? So you're basically saying fuck the Palestinian people, and you're happily bathing your hands in their blood, washing your hands in their blood for nothing. For nothing. There was an attack on an Oakland federal building yesterday. Windows were smashed and a firebomb was allegedly lit at the federal building in downtown Oakland as an act of retaliation for San Francisco Police Department's violent siege on the Sidra Sanctuary encampment at the San Francisco Federal Building. This act was therefore committed in solidarity with all peoples who were arrested at the city encampment, as well as in unity with the global axis of resistance and the protracted war for Palestine liberation and the decolonization of occupied lands. At around 4 a.m. this morning, 2 heavy rocks were thrown at the windows of the Oakland Federal Building, and a firebomb was allegedly placed and lit outside the window in a row of bushes that spans the west side of the building. Allegedly, the window did not break completely when rocks were thrown at it, which seems to have limited what the insurgents could do with fire in the moment, so the device may have been placed in the bushes for this reason. We assume the intended plan was to throw the incendiary device inside the building offices, but unfortunately, while the torch was being lit, a security officer ran out of nowhere and began to yell and chase after one of the insurgents. The insurgent got away quickly, evading 3 security guards in a full sprint. One person chasing the insurgent may have been a plainclothes officer lurking in their car. We are unsure if the firebomb caught hold of the building front, as there have been no news reported yet of this retaliatory attack on the police state. But this was a clear message. If the state continues to harm protesters, campers, and anyone out in the streets fighting for Palestinian liberation, then they will be faced with a decentralized, horizontal, and widespread solidarity movement that grows daily with every state aggression. When the pigs mess with our people, we must retaliate to level the score. Redirect the violence back at the rulers and managers of global settler empire. We cannot allow any more of our comrades and loved ones to get beat to shit, arrested, and harmed by the white supremacist U.S. government. Blessed is the flame. Glory to the martyrs. Burn down the American plantation. Based. May they continue. Imagine if there was a museum dedicated to the slave owner victims of slave rebellions or Nazi victims of Jewish resistance. That's what the Nova exhibit is. That's why cultural institutions must be confronted. So basically, AOC, Jamal Bowman. Like, if you agree,
my fellow New Yorkers,
if you agree with this dude, this is the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, former pig, current sellout. Let's see what he has to say, because let's see how much this differentiates from AOC and Jamal Bowman. Let's see if there's like anything concretely different.
In this country, we must always protect the right to free speech. But I have a moral obligation to speak out when the messages that some New Yorkers are sharing go beyond the pale. Yesterday, outside an exhibit in Lower Manhattan commemorating those massacred at the Nova Music Festival on October 7th, protesters waved Hezbollah and Hamas flags.
Okay, so who cares?
At other protests, they carried banners reading, "Long live October 7th."
Again, who cares?
And one person even yelled, he wishes, a quote, Hitler was still here.
Okay, that was an agent provocateur. Like, okay, so what happens is, that guy might have been a Zionist. That guy might have literally been paid by Zionists to show up and say shit like that, to try to make the entire protest look bad. You cannot take everything that some lunatic or some agent provocateur says at a protest seriously. Okay? Most Palestinian solidarity activists are extremely intelligent people. Okay? Like, why the fuck would they say something like that? You cannot take the words of a man who might have been clinically insane or a man who might have been sent there to disrupt the protest seriously. This is the mayor of one of the largest cities on the face of the earth saying shit like this. This man does not have very many critical thinking skills.
He would have wiped all of you out. These are reprehensible and vile comments. I, and every New Yorker who stands for peace,
peace is the white man's word. That's what Kwame Ture said. Of course, I don't think this fucker has ever read Kwame Ture.
stand united against them. I always speak up for what's right, and what we saw last night was wrong. Let's not forget, on October 7th, tens of thousands gathered at the Nova Festival in the spirit of peace, with hopes.
It's not in the spirit of peace. Would I go and have a fucking ball at a concentration camp?
Of a better future, one where Israelis and Palestinians live in brotherhood, connected by our shared humanity.
This is a former cop saying this.
Hamas then murdered more than 350 innocent men, women, and children at that festival. Part of their brutal terror attack on
This is literal Hasbara.
Israel, which killed, raped, and terrorized more than 1,000.
Even the fucking White House has quit saying this.
And took hundreds more hostage. Earlier this year, I visited the exhibit of the horrors of October 7th through videos shot on that very day and memorialized the victims of that massacre. A day where innocent men.
Imagine, like, okay. Imagine taking your dead people's shoes and cars that were burned up by the IOF. I'm going to keep harping on that point. Imagine doing this and bringing this stuff across the ocean, across thousands and thousands of miles for the consumption of Americans. Like, that is disgusting and shameless.
Women and children were slaughtered as they sang of peace. In the months since,
these people were fucking high off LSD and coke. They were not singing about peace. They were too busy fucking intense. Oh my God. Oh, I hate this fucking whole time so much. The truth that AOC and liberal Zionists like her don't want to admit is that Palestinian resistance fighters are civilians who have picked up arms out of necessity, while Zionist settlers are violent occupiers who celebrate the depraved violence that they inflict against the Palestinians. Even Israelis can present no proof of a single assault victim from the 7th. This is literally a myth, a lie that is made up. But you have, again, like AOC is consistently getting eaten up. Like, this is fucking embarrassing. This is fucking embarrassing and disgusting. This stuff from politicians like AOC is so patently dumb because, like, who is this for? The Zionists hate you. Conservatives hate you. The libs, for the most part, hate you. This is not moving or reaching anyone besides the tiniest fraction of your supporters. And it's actually making you lose supporters because, like, it's becoming even harder for the Social Democrats in DSA to continue to support you because you make us look like ass. You keep embarrassing us. So eventually you're going to end up being dumped. The biggest fool is a fool for free because, like you said, AIPAC is not paying you anything. They're not giving you any money. You fight AIPAC and other lobbies every day. It's unsubstantiated, conspiratorial, and gross. Okay, so you're just a dumbass for free. I am one of the only members of Congress to co-sponsor the ceasefire resolution since day one. I consistently vote no on military budgets, including further weapons to the Israeli government. Why the fuck did you support to give Israel more fucking funding and missiles for the Iron Dome? You still continue to believe that Israel has the right to defend itself. You have no analysis of settler colonialism because you don't fucking read. You're too busy fucking... I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? AIPAC targets you, but you pander to them anyway. You're not even a good politician. Why the fuck would you support your enemies and try to pander to your enemies? They don't even like you. You platformed actual apologists for genocide in your continued efforts to smear those opposing the genocide. Like, there's no universe in which AOC can continue to be supported by DSA. I'm sorry. Nor can Jamal Bowman. October 7th inaugurated a new phase of the Palestinian liberation struggle. At the time, people compared it to the largest jailbreak in human history or the Tet Offensive. The Tet Offensive literally was a major reason why the United States ended up leaving Vietnam. Because the backlash at home was too fucking much. The propaganda campaign against that understanding has been littered with disinformation. Marine Le Pen's party won every single French department except for Paris, which I am given to understand has very few French people. Maybe Paris is the only civilized part of France. Every single department. This is like Trump winning every single state except New York City. France, nothing good comes of it. But yeah. Europe gave us fascism, and of course, when Europe is in trouble, it's always going to turn back to fascism. That place needs to be liberated. It needs to be liberated by the joint dictatorship of the international proletariat of oppressed nations. Socialism without international solidarity is just reorganizing national wealth to produce a social chauvinist society, which in turn is the foundation for a national socialism, also known as Nazism. Being a liberal Hitlerite will not protect you, as you too will be purged by the Nazis. Seriously, guys, the Zionists are in an alliance with the fascists who want to kill us all. There is zero reason to appease them at all. They are the enemy. This fucking scene continues to amaze me. You have this lady who literally looks like she could be in a Leni Riefenstahl film yelling at this very, very visibly Jewish dude that he's not Jewish. We come from Israel. Our people come from Israel. You have come your people. Zionism is a political movement which is causing bloodshed. What are you talking about? That's where our family is from. I'm from Israel. How can you hold that flag? So this guy is putting out straight fucking facts. And this lady is like, She's the epitome of a Karen. Like, she has nothing to contribute besides white woman tears.
Because the
This woman is deeply unwell.
actions of the Zionist people, they are responsible.
Who let her out the hospital? Like, why do they keep letting these fucking people out of the hospital? Why do they keep not giving these people their meds? Why do they let them come out on the streets and engage with people? It's like they let everybody out of the fucking hospital and sent them to the protest.
We live in a beautiful peace. We lived in a beautiful peace with Palestinian people for hundreds of years.
How can you say that you're not a Jew? You're not a Jew. How dare you?
When Zionism came
Bruh, how can you tell that man he's not a Jew?
I'm a Jew.
How can you tell this man he's not a Jew? Come on.
Zionism came in, they caused the bloodshed. They caused rivers of bloodshed.
How can you say that you're Jewish? How can you shame your own people?
Who is a Jew?
We're Jews. It's our people.
He was against Judaism.
We're all Jews here. All right?
Yeah, so how are they saying that?
Because they believe in God. Jewish, I'm standing it.
I don't want that.
That's our country.
And the Talmud says it's not our country like that.
That is our country. How dare you say that about our own people?
Why do people, like, my question is, like, why do these people keep showing up to things like this? Like, you know, you're not going to find anybody that agrees with you. It's like these people want attention. These people want nothing but attention. They want to become stars on TikTok, or they want somebody to interview them, and they want to grift their way. Like, that's what America is. America is a country of hustlers. Like, why the fuck would you show up to an explicitly pro-Palestine demonstration as a Zionist, expecting to, like, what do you hope to achieve? You're not going to achieve anything. This lady is apparently a right-wing wannabe actress. She's literally trying to be a star. What did I just say? She has a fucking baby. And what if you get in a fight and the fucking baby gets knocked over and bashes his head onto the cement because you want it to be a fucking star? And they love putting their hands on people. Bruh. This lady looks like she smells. Ish. So here is Within Our Lifetime explaining why they protested Nova. Maybe AOC should read this. On Monday, June 10th, Within Our Lifetime called for a citywide day of rage for Gaza in response to the U.S.-backed massacre in Nuseirat camp that killed over 270 Palestinians and left more than 700 wounded and killed quite a few hostages as part of the ongoing genocide being carried out against the Palestinian people. New Yorkers responded by flooding the streets and shutting down the Zionist propaganda event, Nova Exhibition NYC, currently installed at 35 Wall Street. The moment music stood still, these people are so fucking self-centered. These people are so fucking self-centered. How can you say that music died just because, like, why would you hold? And again, it keeps coming back to the fact that you willingly chose to hold an event just steps away from where people were starving to fucking death. Why would you do that? New Yorkers responded by flooding the streets and shutting down the Zionist propaganda event, currently installed at 35 Wall Street. In defiance of the NYPD's growing brutality against protesters, targeting of Palestinian Muslim women, and their pathetic attempts to defame organizers, Within Our Lifetime strongly reiterates our call for sustained action against any institution facilitating or justifying the genocide of the Palestinian people, including the Nova exhibition, for as long as it is in New York and any city it will travel to next. The Zionist entity justified the Nuseirat massacre of nearly 300 displaced Palestinians by characterizing it as a rescue operation for 4 hostages that were taken from the Nova Music Festival. The Nova Music Festival was a rave next to a concentration camp held 3.1 miles away from the wall separating Gaza from the rest of Palestine. The wall was erected to isolate Gaza from the outside world in '05 and has kept 2 million Palestinians from returning to their ancestral villages for nearly 2 decades. The Israeli occupation forces launch missiles into the strip regularly, but ban the import of construction equipment that could rebuild dilapidated homes. Long before October, they have restricted food and medicine from being transported across the wall, leaving many Palestinians malnourished and ill. This blockade has long served as a large component of Israel's strategy to ethnically cleanse Palestinians. Official government sources and mainstream news publications reporting the rescue of the 4 hostages has obscured the Nuseirat massacre, which also saw 3 other Israeli hostages, including one American, killed by the genocidal IOF themselves, and the IOF's violence at Nova broadly. As Within Our Lifetime chair Nerdine Kiswani wrote, if y'all really cared about what happened at Nova, why is no one talking about the Israeli occupation forces gunning down their own people and burning cars with missile strikes, or the fact that they killed many hostages in Gaza? This exhibit is pure propaganda. Israeli lives have never been a priority for the IOF, made clear by the existence and practice of the Hannibal Directive on October 7th. The Israeli occupation has also rejected multiple offers by resistance fighters to free all hostages in exchange for a ceasefire, showing that the massacre of Palestinians and the decimation of Gaza is more valuable to them than the rescue of their hostages. The Nova exhibition serves only one purpose: to make this level of colonial violence acceptable to the U.S. public. Manufactured consent has been pushed forth in a myriad of ways since October, including this exhibition that is traveling throughout U.S. cities. A recent article in Time Out states that the Nova Music Festival exhibition seems to urge viewers to focus on what happened on October 7th and not muse over the events that preceded or came after. The imagery it foregrounds, the emotions it elicits, and the decades of context it buries are designed to convey that the Zionist entity is justified in committing a genocide. This traveling apartheid apologia serves the same goal as the false claims of 40 beheaded babies, the weaponization of sexual assault, and other projections from the Zionist entity about October 7th that have been widely debunked. And of course, AOC has pride of place as a local sellout. In less than 24 hours, our action has been condemned across the political spectrum, which sustains the U.S. war machine from local sellouts like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Jamal Bowman, and Richie Torres to stalwart fascists like Inna Vernikov and Eric Adams. At the time of writing this, Senator Chuck Schumer has finished his speech on the Senate floor condemning the demonstration, and House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries has posted his own statement against us. So these are the people that AOC and Jamal Bowman, our endorsed candidates, are in bed with. If you're on the same side as Eric Adams, you are fucking wrong. This is a shame. This is an embarrassment. This is why Palestinians are boycotting DSA. AOC openly supported Iron Dome funding in April, still on her website. She also equated anti-Zionism to anti-Semitism in voting for HR 888. And again, by just platforming 2 Zionists and condemning protests against an exhibit justifying the slaughter of Palestinians. Just to be clear. It doesn't matter if you did some good shit along with it. Your principles are not existent. What article is this from? Why we protested Nova. Here, I'll link it in the chat. Billions must read. Yeah. Enjoy. Do you wish to be remembered all of your life as sacrificing the lives of Palestinians just because you wanted health care? If so, you are no different from the Israeli settlers. You are one and the same. Also, I've drafted an anti-Zionist resolution for my DSA chapter because I refuse to be embarrassed. And I know my comrades also refuse to be embarrassed. So it's time for us to take a stand. This is that disgusting fucking picture I was talking about. They held a Tom-ass Juneteenth event. Like, why would you literally go and kiss the hand of the man? Juneteenth is supposed to be about liberation. It's our Jubilee. That was the day that Africans were informed that they were now free men and women in Texas. because they dragged us to Texas and they continued to extract our labor even after the Civil War was over. And you're going to go and hang out with Genocide Joe, with Sleepy Joe, with Segregation Joe, with Crime Bill Joe, and kiss his fucking hand. It's sickening. Like I said, if I was a doomer, I would say my people are cooked. But my people are not cooked. My people shall rise. AOC has made her choices, and it's time she is recognized as an enemy of Palestinians and a champion of those facilitating their genocide. And DSA people like the rightist, they continue to act like, oh, these are nobodies. This is the associate editor of Intifada, Electric Intifada. So you have well-known Palestinian voices who are saying that AOC ain't shit. Heard about this yet? An Arizona man is facing federal charges for planning a mass Rudy Tooty mass shooting in Atlanta. He wanted to pit black people and white people against each other. Yeah, this guy sold weapons at gun shows. He traveled around selling his own weapons off book at gun shows, and he divulged his plan to a snitch and undercover agents, talking about how he wanted to commit crimes of violence against African Americans in Georgia, specifically Atlanta, which is widely seen as being the capital of black people in the United States. And in his own words, the reason why he wanted to hit Atlanta was because he thinks that Georgia is a fucked up state. When I was a kid, that was one of the most conservative states in the country. These are his words. Why is it not now? Because as the crime got worse in LA, St. Louis, and all these other cities, all the N-words moved out of these places and moved to Atlanta. That's why it isn't so great anymore. And they've been there for several years. Okay, first of all, you don't know shit about Atlanta. But yeah, he planned to go and fuck shit up, and he was caught. Honestly, one white dude trying to shoot up a hip-hop show in Atlanta probably wouldn't go very well. Because we got guns too, buddy. We have guns too. So Leonard Peltier just had his parole hearing on Monday, and this is a statement from his attorneys. We began this year with the triumphant motto coined by Brother Daruma bin Wahad: "We will not give up the fight. Fight we will for Leonard's freedom." The struggle for Leonard's freedom is not over until it is over. We will use every available legal mechanism to secure his release, but we know the law and justice are not the same thing. And so the law alone is not sufficient to access meaningful justice. As such, we encourage continued legal support, but also social and political support for Leonard Peltier. Leonard Peltier had his parole hearing on Monday, June 10th, 2024, and we feel that he was as supported as possible. We are aware that the parole process itself, like every part of the criminal penal system, is both a political and legal process, and the flaws in this process, specifically concerning Leonard, have been meticulously documented by the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention. The appropriate inquiry for the commission is to assess the person who stands before them, not the alleged offense. Okay, so this is an old-ass man, okay? This is an old-ass man. He's not going to do anything. He's not going to get out and fight the feds again. He's going to get home, go home and retire and spend time with his family. But the only reason that this guy is still locked up in the first place is because of the FBI. Like, the FBI has a tradition of fucking with Leonard Peltier and trying to keep him in prison for the remainder of his natural life. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to do what the fucking Israelis do and intern his corpse. But they hate this guy because he's accused of killing their agents. That's why. It's literal spite. Like J. Edgar Hoover level spite. That's all. So, free Leonard Peltier. There's no reason for him to be incarcerated still in the first place. We have our own sellout in St. Louis. Wesley Bell, as of today, has received almost $1 million, $838,144 from the pro-Israel lobby. And he blocked one of my comrades, and he also blocked a APAC tracker. AOC is just John Fetterman in business attire with a marginally better PR team. Honestly, her PR team is shit too. Richie Torres has blocked me. I don't even recall interacting with this Tom Hanks motherfucker. I guess he just has like a botnet or something that just goes through and blocks people that talk about him bad. I despise my people's culture being used as a prop for American imperialism and colonizers' political jousting. We are Nat Turner's children, not Joe Biden. People need to remember that. I'm still tripping off that fucking video of these, like, these dudes are very visibly Jewish, and you look like you could be in a Leni Riefenstahl. What the fuck did Bud do to you? Why would you do that? Bud is not an op. I even gave him a Mao hat and a pistol and a hammer and sickle. Like, he's not an enemy. He even has little shades like a third worldist from the 70s. But yeah. Well, Karl Marx would have supported the MAGA movement. You know, hipster FBI agent. Or PB FBI agent. But yeah, fuck AOC. Fuck Jamal Bowman. Make revolution.